Hello YouTube, this is Tammy Pie and I'm back with another SKT deep dive video. This is video number 10 of 12. We're assuming it's gonna be only 12. And I have a few cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 cards here because we're kind of dawdling. And I dawdle because I really enjoy the deck. I really like reading with the deck. I really like the way it was created. I like the things that it does. And I made this series because I think there are a lot of people out there who love the deck, but who aren't on YouTube. And I think there are a few people out there in YouTube world who have the deck and are frustrated. They're like, I can't get through that book of maps. I can't understand why all these things are on the cards and how these cards are easy to use. They are easy to use. They are simply a Golden Dawn deck. They are so much more than that. Okay, so today's video is a bunch of cards that to me are very dual in their meanings. They are duality in different ways. There's a couple of 2s here. There's a 6 here. There are a couple of things that have scales or 2 pictures. And so they're dual in a lot of different ways. And I think that because of the nature of the way people deal with each other, duality is a really strong theme. I was looking at there is on the wall of the Jiu-Jitsu Academy, there is a list of 10 kind of basic rules for the Academy. And I thought about it and I thought, wow, all of these have to do with getting along with other people, being able to control yourself, showing other people respect, being resilient against forces outside of yourself. And these are all situations that can either be difficult or they can be great. It can be both a blessing and a trial, right? So I'm gonna put the camera down and we're gonna get into it. So I was talking earlier about it, especially in the last video that I put out, about being locked in this weekend. But I'm gonna go camp out at my mom's, so it'll be actually pretty fun. I enjoy hanging out at my mom's. And I thought, wow, I could just pack a bunch of tarot decks and take them with me. But really, the SKT videos, I kind of need to be here. I need to be set up, and I need to have the mental space to do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the majors, which are going to be the Priestess, the Chariot, Wheel of Life, the Chancellor, the Angel. Okay, so the Chancellor is Justice. The Angel is Temperance. The Demon, obviously the Devil, I guess. We're going to do one number 6, which is the Giver, and 2 2s, the Blind Seer, which is the 2 of Swords, you'll recognize it, and the Tension, which is the 2 of Pentacles. So you'll recognize, in all of these cards, there is some sense of duality in some way. So the Priestess, or number 2, the High Priestess, Sanctuary of Isis, changed a bit. She added kind of more decorative stuff here. I don't know. Is there a... No, there's not. She added the camel. We need to have the camel here. The pomegranate was already there. The moon. This is dual in an interesting way. So, of course, in the Rider-Waite-Smith, you have the two pillars, B and J, right? Boaz and Joaquin, I think, which are two pillars from the temple of whatever, historical Christendom. But the veil here is kind of more Thothy, right? If you know the Thoth deck, you know that veil is kind of a big part of both the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess. This thing right here, I want to say is for Inanna. And the Priestess here is actually a transvestite. It's a transvestite priestess. And of course, I'll put the applicable pages from the Book of Maps so you can read about it. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I did not realize that. This camel carries a secret. And there's a whole lot going on here, but it is, after all, the High Priestess. We've got the moon. I believe this is... I'm not going to say anymore and be wrong. Okay, I was right. It's water. Because the water down here, right? In card counting, it's worth 9 because this is one of the 9 planets. Okay? And what else do I want to say about this? That's about it. I don't want to belabor it too much. There's going to be a lot of stuff from the books of maps. She didn't write Torah here because we assume that with the High Priestess, right? These wings, I think, are from the wings of... I've got it in the Book of Maps, but I think they're from the Temperance card. No, they're not. That's not the one. Okay. I'm recalling incorrectly because I got so much stuff in my head. I do actually read this stuff again before I come to you with all my incorrect information. All right, here is the Chariot. This is dual in nature because of these two guys right here. Also, if you think about Chariot cards, a lot of times they look like they're stationary, even though we think of them as motion. And it's the sign is for Cancer, right? Which is kind of, Cancer is kind of a homey sign. The symbol is Akasha. This is worth 12 because it is one of the zodiacal majors. And this is light out of truth. So usually the charioteers are men, and in the earlier versions you couldn't really tell, but in the later version here in Revelation, she made it definitely a girl. Okay. So we have the mutable signs here, so there's a whole lot going on here. There's a bunch of symbology on the breastplate of the armor, which I'll put from the Book of Maps. There's a whole thing between these two. These are these moons are like moon blocks, which are divinatory. When I think of chariots, rather than being in the car or driving or moving or motion, I think of it more as having control of your forward motion. So it's pulling these two forces together. Okay. These little, it's interesting because when we look at the wheel, these guys are back, but these little Sphinx creatures here, one of them does not have a mouth, but has eyes to see, which encourages you to look further for the truth. And the one that has a mouth does not have eyes to see. So watch what you say, because your truth may be painful. Okay, so he's stepping on his own tail. What else do I have here? Not sure the background. I forget what the background is. But I'll give you some kind of close-ups, and that's it. Let's move on to the wheel. And this wheel is so good. It's so interesting. We've got in the center this the symbol for the great work. We've got the Homo instead of Rota, which is, there's a whole thing in the Book of Maps about that. I'll put I forget what the symbol, the Latin means, but of course that's from the Book of Maps. Then we have the moon phases here, and then finally the 12 zodiac symbols. And also what we have are the 4 worlds. Okay, so this is air, water, fire, earth. Okay, and then so instead of the faces, which sometimes show up in the wheel, she's got the stones. But we also have this Sphinx that's at the top is having a good time, and the Sphinx that's at the bottom is having not so good of a time. This god here is the god She, which is in Egyptian mythology, he is kind of a guy that also he gives you prosperity, but he also doles out the bad stuff too. He also knocks you to your knees. Okay, so when you're praying to She, watch out what you ask for, right? Because both things could happen. Also, this background, this is like the Egyptian desert, as it would appear like at sunset or noon, whatever. But this here is kind of in dreamland. So we're in like this very dual situation here. So duality, right? And of course, I'll give you books of maps. I'll also give you, I'm thinking I'm going to use, there's a picture she has in the Book of Maps of the god She that is just beautiful. I think I'm going to use it for my laptop screensaver. The trigram is wind, winds of change. The astrological symbology is Jupiter, and of course, because it's a planet card, it's worth 9 in card counting. Did I show you in this one, there's more with the web of fate, okay? Which later on you'll see the strings of fate are kind of they're in a lot of the Vitruvian, but they're still in this deck too. All right, moving on to the Chancellor. Okay. And is the Chancellor one that has, well, the webs of fate are part of the scales of justice, right? So, and she's blindfolded. She's sitting in front of an Ankh. Interesting. She is, this one is. I believe this iris is for mercy. This is, we see the two pillars again, but they're not so light and dark now. And this is, I think, representing the goddess Mat, who weighs your heart against the feather. There is also, if you look very closely here, there's a scarab. Her jewelry is a scarab. And there's a reason for that. I'll put it in the book of maps. What else do we have? This writing back here in the sky, and I'll give you a larger, I'll show a larger picture so you can see it. It's like a prayer to Mat, I believe. And let's see, this is for Libra, because Libra is the scales. This is one of the Akashic, which means that you would, if you get this, you would double it. Because this is one of the zodiacal majors, it is worth 12 in card counting. Okay, let's see. Did I forget anything? I don't know if I did. If I did, I'm sorry. I'll try and make up for it with the Book of Maps. Now, this is one, some people, kind of including me, I don't know. I understood why she did it. But some people didn't like this change because the first angel is kind of cute, right? She looks very easygoing, and this one is a little kind of weird looking. But there's our mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Capricorn, and Pisces. This is another Akashic one. This is Sagittarius, so it's worth 12. Divine higher genius, and these rays emanate outward to death and to the demon, and they go all over the place. And if you look here, oh, here's our web of fate. There it is, still there. Because the angel is, she's working it out for you. She is going to take that burden and help you figure it out. This is our divine consciousness running through these two chalices, even though, I mean, me included, I call this the bartender card sometimes. She's got her foot in the water, which has become a rainbow here. And I'm not entirely sure why it's a rainbow now, but it is. Let's see, what else? What else can I tell you about this? So this comes from, I think, a Greek Janus thing. And what it's about is seeing both sides of an issue, seeing both sides of a problem. So that is definitely our duality mark. All right, where do I put all these? Okay, so we're going to move on from the angel to the demon. And the demon always has chains around two figures, right? So that's kind of dual. But also there's a certain amount of kind of wanting to be around the demon, because the demon's a party guy, right? He's out there having a great time, but also you have to be aware of where to stop, and you might not be. You might be lying to yourself. The demon drink may be taking over your mind, right? So these guys are chained to him. The phoenix and the dragon their light has kind of gone out. And this is the Ouroboros from the Magus. The sign is Capricorn. This is Earth. and it's worth 12 because this is a zodiacal thing. This is an upside down symbol for the great work. He is actually controlled by the Magus. And these symbols right here show him being controlled. This here is the South Node, where usually you might see an upside down pentagram. The South Node, I actually do know what that means. It's like the trials and tribulations in your chart. You have the North Node, which is something that you accomplish, and the South Node is the stuff that you have to kind of go through, the hard lessons, the things that will stop you from accomplishing them. Okay? Of course, there's more here, but I can never remember all the stuff because by the time I get here, I'm in a big fat hurry because I have other things to do. All right, did I show you the demon in the Vitruvian? Probably not. He's kind of a little cuter in the Vitruvian. A little more chill. But I mean, this one didn't change much, right? She put a little more mask on him. That mask is like the Kitsui in, I think it's the Seven of Swords. And of course, he does the same benediction symbol as the Pope does. I don't know what you want to take from that, but yeah, we'll do that. Okay, next we have, we're down to the minors. And I only have 3 minors here because I have so many cards. But we've got the Giver here, which is the 6 of Orbs. And this, I love these. This hand is covered in bindi, okay? Which is, when I first went to Newt's, Jamie Sawyer was there doing bindi for people in the circus tent. This is 2 people, Middle Eastern, Mesopotamian maybe, giving each other fruit, making a deal, kind of. Here's your fruit, here's your this. And of course the background is this beautiful temple here. I'll put the Book of Maps stuff up there. This is just a really beautiful card. The moon, so it is, it's the Taurus, the moon in Taurus, and this is the mountain, and it's worth 6 because it's a 6 card. Okay. What else do we have? I'm sure there's more, but I'll try and put as many Book of Maps pages as I can to explain this. Oh, let me show you the Giver from the Vitruvian. And I'm just showing the Vitruvian because the first edition, there were, not huge changes in the Vitruvian. And I'm tired, man. I'm just a little freaking tired. Okay, so let's move on to, and this is dual because we're giving and we're accepting. We're giving and we're accepting. Somebody was doing a spread on their YouTube channel, and they said, I can't understand what it is I'm supposed to be giving. And I said, maybe it's not something you're supposed to be giving, but something you're supposed to be, some help you're supposed to be accepting. So, yeah. All right, the Blind Seer, the 2 of Swords. And here we have the moon in Libra. The trigram is the lake, is worth 2 because it's a 2 card. And here's the tower. Where was this tower that I was trying to remember which other card it was in? I think it was like maybe the 9. No, I don't think it was the 9 of Pentacles. It was one of the Pentacle cards, I think. Anyway, there's the tower. and I'll put the appropriate sign there. So she's blindfolded and having to make a decision, right? And this, oh, let me show you this. Okay, there's a Vitruvian. Well, here, I don't know if you can see this. I'll embiggen it for you so you can see, but this is the pattern in her dress here. Okay. The all-seeing eye is helping her to make this decision, right? Really, I should not go to my mom's. I should just stay here and clean things, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go have a good time at my mom's house. There has been some change, but they're not huge, major changes. I think her outfit is a little more detailed, but there's the same plants here. This whole thing, I'll see if I can find in the Book of Maps this what it means. This is, of course, I'll look it up in the Book of Maps because I can't explain it easily or quickly, and yeah. Okay, last one. 2 of Orbs. The tension. And this was the Nocturne before, which is what she's describing is when there is 2 things that come together and move around each other, there's a tension between them that keeps them in each other's orbit. Okay? And this is a space that is it's kind of a powerful space, right? This is some kind of earth. I think this is an African earth goddess. And once again, I will definitely give you all the books of maps, but this is very Thothy. Here's your south node and north node, or south node and north node. We've got our moon phases and our zodiacal spaces. This one is another Jupiter one. It's Jupiter in Capricorn. And this, I want to say, is the mountain. Is it the mountain? Yes, it's the mountain. Ha! I'm getting them. I too am getting an education from doing this with you guys. Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff here. The flowers have meaning. The rocks down here have some meaning. I will of course put the Book of Maps there. I'll give you some larger pictures, but honestly, I am dying up here. It's so hot, and I need to get myself packed and go to my mom's. So there's another one done and dusted, and I'm only going to do 2 more. So hopefully I can get some of that stuff done while I'm up there. But I'm still going to do more Halloween stuff. I'm still going to do more spooky season stuff because it's just fun. It's fun to do all these October deck challenges and stuff, and I can't stop, won't stop. All right, so for today's reading, we are going to use the first printing of Revelation, and I'm going to use my Jamie Sawyer tarot tiles from the Vitruvian. She also does Revelation tiles, if you're interested. And this, of course, is a Moonlit Phase eye, because that's how we roll around here. Okay, so what this is a spread called Doorways. Can you see? Well, I guess you can kind of see the other page here, where it says gives you the positions. But we're just gonna, basically what it is a past, present, future layout with a couple ways that this can rise, or the ways that it can lift you up or ways that it can take you down. Okay, so the descent is the upside down old patterns that keep bringing you away from progress, and the ascent is keys to unlock potential, a way to open new doors. Okay, so this should be fun with SKT, especially fun because I have both cards and tiles that are the 2 decks, right? How's that swish? All right. So doorways. What kind of doorways can we open? I needed to turn on my air conditioning for a little while because I was literally dripping. Okay. We're just going to take them right off the top. Should I lay these face down? I'm going to lay them face down. This is kind of how Jamie does it. Okay, and actually I'm going to do the tiles too. I'm going to do the tiles face down. That way I can go ahead and sit and just do this reading. Boop. This is the ascent. Past, present, future. And the descent. You see how fun that is? Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to pull you in a little more here. Okay, so in the past, what has already happened, this is history gone, it's in the memory vault. Oh, wow. All right, so there was a connection. There was a connection made, and that connection has now broken down. This connection is over and done with. And that's just the way it is. There's no fault here. There's no anger. It is simply how this played out. Okay? Present, the perpetual now. An invitation to be here at this moment. All right. So maybe the reason this relationship broke down is because of a thing that you can't help but do. Maybe you have a problem with relationships. Maybe you always do that certain something that makes people crazy and that they can't seem to get along with. Or maybe you feel like you're always picking the wrong guy who is always doing something that makes it so that you cannot possibly keep going here. There's your kitsune here in the background. Interesting, we pulled the 2 of Cups. This was not one of the cards that I talked about, but it is a duality card. So this perpetual now, in the present, if you know this is something you do, well, maybe we need to work on that, right? So the future is what materializing possibilities wash in on new currents. The Warrior, wow. So this is great. This is looking in the mirror and really seeing yourself, really giving yourself a truth bath, as it were. either you're out there picking people that you cannot and will not have a long-lasting relationship with, or you're doing something to the people that you want to make connections with that ends it. So maybe you need to look at yourself in a truthful way and kind of get rid of all that. Okay? So the Descent that's here, we have the Chancellor, the Keeper, and the Holy See, which is the Hierophant. All right. So the Chancellor is a card that we spoke about. The Keeper is the Fool. So that's us right now, right? This is you are the person who is in charge of all this, and you're the person who's taking this journey. Maybe you're always looking for things to be equal and balanced, but you also want things to be like traditional. Sometimes you have to either let that balance go one way or the other. Sometimes you have to allow people to give you some help. Sometimes you have to allow other people to make mistakes. Sometimes you have to realize that you are the person who made the mistake and own up to it. And these rules and restrictions, they don't always work in relationships now. Even if this is like a friendship that you had that you really thought was going places and it just never got off the ground. Maybe you had expectations that they weren't even aware of, okay? And this is the Ascent. This is the keys to unlock the potential, a way to open new doors and lock away old ones forever. And we have here the Shining Dew. Oh, that's nice. So that's the Knight of Cups. We have the what is this? The Discerning One. That's the Two of Wands. And the Champion. Okay. So as far as new doors go, right? If you want to have relationships, you have to have empathy. You have to open up. It may be that you are afraid of showing your softer side. It could be that you are afraid someone's going to take advantage of you or hurt you in some way because that's happened in the past. Sometimes you have to look forward. You got to look ahead and see what there is out there that could be better, could be. And again, there's another dual card that I didn't talk about, but sometimes through that doorway, and this is almost a doorway right in itself, is a new way of looking at things, a way of accepting yourself and others, which creates a way forward. And this is absolutely one of my favorite cards in the whole deck. The Champion. Sometimes you're gonna get hurt. There is always gonna be situations where people hurt other people. Your feelings get hurt. You get taken advantage of. Whatever the situation, that doesn't have to be the end of everything, okay? You can live with that pain. You can handle it. And you can say, hey, look, you stuck a stick in my knee. I'm not having that anymore, but we can still be friends. We can still get along. There is a way to move forward. Great stuff. Don't you just love SKT? It works in everything. Okay. And that is my reading. And thank you for coming.